I love walking my grandchildren to their neighborhood school. And what I like about that is they go down the street, they yell at all the neighbors, and the neighbors yell back at them, and they can run up in the house and let me go see the sun, let me go see someone's tricycle. Oh, this one's offering them a lollipop, this one's offering them a popsicle, and I'm saying, oh my goodness. That is the beauty of being able to walk your child or grandchild to a neighborhood school where that neighborhood embraces and supports that child.
Well, if you conceptualize the school as a community center and with wraparound services, they're going to help, whatever children and their families need. That is what you should be using schools for.
It has a bad effect on a young person to see that his or her neighborhood school is no longer available. That child has been looking at that building and say, well, when I finish school number 1, I'm going to be able to go to school number 2, which is right across the street from my house. My uncles went there, my mother went there, my father went there. Everybody I know in this neighborhood went to that school and they liked it. It's important for me to be able to go to that school for my own self-definition. When you take that away, it's like taking away anything else from a young person. They begin to wonder, well, why? Why now? Why can't I go to a school that everybody else went to that was good for them? Why can't I go to something else that's just as good for me? Unfortunately, there are some students in Newark who will go throughout their collective school lives without having ever been to a new building. Schools going back to the late 1800s. Some children will go to, let's say, a school like Cleveland, which was built around that time. They will go to elementary school there, they will go to middle school, and then they will go to a school like, let's say, Westside for high school. And so they will never, ever have experienced the joy of going to a nice building. And that's because they haven't, the officials in charge haven't made it possible for most of you to go to a new school.
So Healthy Schools Now is a coalition of parents, educators, and community members who are dedicated to ensuring that all students learn in a safe and healthy environment, right? That they can go to school every day in safe and healthy school buildings that are free of hazards. So one of the things that we do is we like to try to raise awareness in communities and around the state about the conditions that schools are in. And then we try to work with parents and educators to urge the state to make changes and fix schools that are in need of repair. So I went to visit a Newark Public School recently, and I knew there would be facility issues there. And when I walked in, I saw ceiling tiles with mold or water stains. It was poor lighting in there, poor ventilation, the windows open minimally or not at all. There was no air conditioning. The floor was deteriorating, causing tripping hazards. We went outside to the playground, if you could call it a playground, and it was basically a parking lot that was fenced in with uneven or broken pavement. There were no toys, and there were 2 large, smelly dumpsters where children would have been playing. So after that, we went inside in the same building to the upstairs where there's a charter school. And the charter school was well lit, freshly painted walls, everything was new and clean, and it was just a different feeling. They had a courtyard sectioned off for the charter school kids to use for recess. They also had a separate cafeteria and a separate entrance. And that feeling that I got going up there and seeing the different entrance, it got me thinking about the disparity between the public school and the charter school in the same building.
I feel very passionate about that because some young people who go to certain charter schools are fortunate enough to be going to schools that have been recently constructed or recently rehabilitated. there is a fund, a charter school fund, which helps charter schools build new buildings. Then there's something called the QZAB bond money, which is a way for certain charter schools to rehabilitate old school buildings which were virtually given to them for very, very low amounts of money by the Newark School District. There is another pool of money called the Abbott money, which the governor has put a hold on. So most of the money that's available for the regular schools, for where most of the children still go to school, that money has not been utilized fully to build new schools for young people.
Yes, we had a situation here in Newark where a public school, 18th Avenue, was closed, then sold under market value to a charter group. The charter was Team Academy. I forget what it's going to be called now, but I know they're fixing it up. Now, there's a bureaucratic process. And one of those steps in the bureaucratic process is for the local district to get the approval of the state to sell it because it's public property. What happened? You know what happened? What moves things is networking. What moves things are people who know other people, who in the past and in the future will have business deals together. And that has been going on in Newark, and that's what has happened with the sale of the 18th Avenue School to a charter group. That had created a private, profit-making corporation called Pink Hula Hoop Limited, simply because sometime in the future, 10 years, it would actually be 8 years now, because 2 years have already elapsed, that property can be sold privately. Real estate can bring in a lot of money.
And as I thought more about it, I really started to wonder about what the students in the public school felt, right? Because they're smart. They know that their facilities are different than the charter facilities. And I just kept thinking, what must they feel? How do they feel about the state of New Jersey and what the state of New Jersey thinks of them? They must feel that they don't deserve as good a school as the school upstairs. And that self-worth and that self-esteem that they're gathering from the facilities issues that they're learning in every day, I think that stays with them, and it's shaping how they see themselves, and that's going to go with them through life. It's not just while they're there in that school. This is affecting them for the rest of their lives.
I mean, charter schools are great. I'm not gonna lie. Charter schools look amazing from the inside, the outside. Beautiful institutions. Why? Because they can bring in money. They have the ability to, funnel money from the private sector to the public sector. They have a lot of money, and that's evident in the quality of the school. But to say that can only happen if it's a charter school, I think that's crazy. The question here is, where are our resources going? And if they're not coming to us, how do we hold the people that should be bringing those things to us accountable?